Namaste and welcome. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and I am delighted to have a guest with us today on the program, someone that I met a little while ago, and she is an extremely talented artist. Her name is Candy Thomen, and she's also a graphic designer, a professional, like I said, professional artist. She's got over 26 years of experience. And if that's not enough, she's also an energy healer, an intuitive, and empath. And through her gifts, she's able to connect with her clients' energy, helping her create unique soul-based art and designs. And how I got to know Candy is through this new book called Women Standing Strong Together, who I've had actually several of the authors and one of the publishers on the program before. So if you've missed those episodes, go back and find them. Um, and as well as many other books. So in her creative focus right now that she's doing, she is partnering with author and spiritual coach Gloria Coppola, who was one of the interviews we've had. And they have launched a powerful potential and purpose publishing. I love that. 4 P's. Very nice.
4 P's.
And so their belief is that we each have a powerful purpose in our lives, and their vision and mission is to help others and authors, readers alike, reach their full potential and live their soul purpose. And she's all about helping you to find your creative voice and to really express that as well. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit, I think, as we go through. So welcome, Candy. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage.
Thank you, Gloria. It's wonderful to be here and to see you again. You're so delightful. I love talking with you when we were doing our book ambassador interviews and all the stuff we were doing. We launched the book.
So. Yeah, absolutely. So I thought maybe a good way to get started, excuse me, pardon me, is talk a little bit about how you got here. So when did you first realize that, you were an artist and you had this artistic talent? And then how did you get actually then started down this as a career path?
That's a really long journey. I knew I was creative from the time I was a child. And I come from, on my mother's side, a long line of creators, even though I only just kind of got that recently. Even my great-great-grandmother, they're always doing needlework, and my great-grandmother did ceramics, my mom sewed, and so I was exposed to that creative life. And even I remember in when Mount St. Helens went off for us, I live in Washington State, so that was in 1980. I was doing embroidery, and I was all of 8 years old. So I started, it was the artistic or that creative energy came early. And through the course of my childhood and some traumatic events, being creative was a lifeline. And I didn't really know it at that time. It was how I was surviving and how I was able to function through some gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
And when I was a senior in high school, it had clicked enough in my brain that I knew I needed to do something creative for my job, my career, because we're all about that in high school. What are you going to do when you grow up?
Right, exactly.
And so in art class, I kind of had free reign in my art class, and we had a gal come in from the Art Institute of Seattle and talk to our class, and I won't say what she said resonated with me, but it was a viable option for bringing art into a career. And so that's where I went. I jumped on board. I moved to Seattle after I graduated high school and studied with the Art Institute for 2 years. I went in, I wanted to be an illustrator, oddly enough, because I'm an avid bookworm.
Right.
I read more than anything. So I thought, I wanted to illustrate books. And the Art Institute was not conducive to that. They are not an illustration school. And so that was okay. I came out a graphic designer. And I was a graphic designer for 20 years, and that was an acceptable way to express my creativity.
Mm.
So in our book, The Women Standing Strong Together, I talk about, this journey and struggling with these creative blocks and not knowing for many decades where they came from.
Mm.
And so being a graphic artist, I was getting paid. It was a real job,
Right.
legitimate.
Yeah.
And that was what, in the situation I was in, that's what was allowed.
Mm.
And that was, and it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Well, yeah, that kind of brings me to, so you wound up actually participating, not only at you, because I know that you also did the lovely art. You might want to show that book again and let's show off your chops here. Yeah, so she designed this. I think is an awesome cover. It's got all the authors are in the circles there, which is cool.
And then we have, the inner pages, and so
yeah, awesome. But you wound up actually telling your own story. So how was that for you? What kind of an experience was that for you? Did something good come out of it? I hope.
I did. A lot of really good came out of it. It wasn't what I expected at all. I did some creative. Actually, writing was one of my kind of first forms of creativity, other than doing like the needle arts.
Okay.
In elementary school, I started writing short stories.
Oh, okay.
And in high school, it evolved into poetry, which was a really good release for all those dark emotions that I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shelved it because, my mom was wonderful. Anything I wanted to do, she'd give me what I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing a book. And at some point in writing that book, I realized I was painting pictures with words. And I thought, this is really cumbersome. I'm just going to paint.
Too funny.
So when, I wrote the story for Women Standing Strong Together, I thought, oh, easy peasy. I used to write all the time, and I still write, so that's easy.
Yeah.
And so I wrote it, and not easy. Really not easy. And Gloria Coppola, so is, such a beautiful and amazing coach. And, it really has a niche in doing this writing coaching to help you get into those deeper parts of your story.
Right.
And it didn't take too long. The first draft, we just kind of clear our voice.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, just kind of go, bleh, and
yeah.
get everything out. But it didn't feel good, but it was good because it got me into some stuff that I hadn't thought about for a really long time.
Mm.
And, we think we're done with our healing around certain issues, especially from our childhood.
Yeah.
So, I write the first couple of drafts, and Gloria's coaching me through it. And some of it's pretty heavy, and not a lot, not nice. And I went into that, area of blame and victim.
Mm.
And that's super easy to do when we're writing these really deep, personal healing stories.
Right.
So third, fourth draft, and in between writing, I'm designing the book and the cover and, working with everyone. And so about the fourth draft, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. It's good. It's fine. I'm done. I need to get I'm done. Yep. And I did see a lot. I mean, I saw layers of my story in ways that I hadn't before. Mm-hmm. Really. And that was, where that deep healing came from. And so by that fourth draft, I thought, oh yeah, I've healed. I've healed enough. We're done. Yeah. And so we're laying out the book, and we're kind of, looking at the order of how the stories flow, and, how we want to guide the reader on this journey of healing. Yeah. And Gloria says to me, I don't want your story first. She says, it's too heavy. And I'm like, really? And Miss Overachiever, and co-publisher, and I'm like, but then I could feel, because that's the intuitive empath gift. So I feel what she says as much as I hear it. And I could feel what she was feeling in regards to my story. And I thought, ouch, yeah, no, I don't want to put that out.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, okay, I'm going to write it. I'm going to rewrite it. And she said, what? I'm going to write it again. And I said, just, give me a little bit. It's fine. I'm going to still do, the layout, but let me try one more time. And so I did. I got down one more time and I really looked at it and I sorted through those pieces, and the really deep, amazing healing happened through all of that. And it gave me some really profound insight into a lot of the things that I had been struggling with for 30 years.
Wow.
So it was an amazing process, and really profound. It is, and not easy, but so worth it. So incredibly worth it.
Well, that's good. So you mentioned, listening to your intuition, which is something that I have, over the years, I've heard it, felt it, disregarded it, of course, and then regretted it later and like, so now I'm more aware of it. And now I'm like, okay, I'll do that, and things do tend to work out much better when I do listen.
It's funny.
So that's been my experience, but why do you think it is, important to listen to our higher guidance?
Well, it's because it is easier when we listen. It's there. We all have it. Just as we are all creative, we are all intuitive. It's, how much effort or how much credence do we give to it? And the more we listen, the more we open, the more it guides. And, the journey with Gloria Coppola and I wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the intuition. Women Standing Strong wouldn't exist if it wasn't for following that guidance, and the publishing company wouldn't be here, and the book wouldn't have happened if she and I hadn't listened to that intuitive guidance, that higher voice. We were called, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'd say we were both called separately to go to Calgary, Canada.
Oh.
And she had talked about it a year before she went, saying, next year at this time, I'm going to go to Banff National Park. She has this photo of Lake Louise. And, it's gorgeous. And I had never been. And when she was talking about it, so it's like a year and a half ago now, and I could feel within me, I'm like, I got to go. But I'm like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to jump on her train. I just let it be. And she talked about it, and she didn't know how it was going to manifest, and that's the beauty of Gloria and her guidance. I mean, she's an amazing person in listening always to higher guidance and really keeping that channel open and wide and trust and belief. So she knew she was going. And as the world turns, it came around to last October. And one day we were talking and she says, do you want to meet me up there? And I've been going through a bunch of struggles with some health stuff, and my mom had just died. And I said, sure. Yes, I'm going to drive for 9 hours by myself while I'm in the midst of recovering from a minor head trauma. I'm like, yep, I'll go. And that's basically how, Powerful Potential and Purpose Publishing was born, because we met up there. We spent 5 days. We did her thing. We hung out. We went to Lake Louise, and just all of the synchronicities, all of the little pieces. And I knew, because we knew before this that we were thinking about the book, but I hadn't touched my story yet. And I knew that I needed to go to Calgary before I could write it.
Yeah.
And what happened was just a conversation between her and I as I was driving her to the airport. And she said one thing. And then all of a sudden, all of these pieces started cascading together. And that was the impetus, the trigger that started the healing process that is then captured in that story in the book.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know going there to BAM is, if you have not been, I encourage anyone listening to this to go. It is the most beautiful place in the world. My family went there a few years ago, so I can definitely see where it would be a source of inspiration for you. And so you kind of segued into my next question, which was, how did you get started with it? But so let's continue with that a little bit. And when you met and you decided to form this, what was your purpose? What's the goal of the company ultimately now, especially now that you've got this first book, I guess. I think it was that the first one that you did now.
It's the first one that we did basically under the publishing company.
Yeah.
Gloria's published a couple of books that I've been the artist and the designer for.
Okay.
But what the purpose is to help people find and follow their purpose, not only as authors, but then for the readers too. So it's to inspire, it's to give voice to these transformative experiences. It's to bring into the world all of these really deep healing stories, inspiration that needs to be shared. We're all here to kind of raise the vibration, the level of humanity.
Yeah.
And everyone has a story to tell. We all have stories.
Yep.
And so our goal is to help people get those stories out and to do it in a way that's authentic. Gloria, with her writing coaching, and both of us with our intuitive gifts, can really tune into the energy of the people we're working with and to the energy of their story and what needs to be shared, and really, make it grow and blossom and expand far more than what, just like me, than what we thought when you start. It turns into so much more. And that becomes a light and a benefit for the whole world. So that's the purpose.
Awesome. Well, that is a very good is too mild a word. I'm trying to think of a better description, but well, let's go with inspired purpose. How about that?
There we go. It's a powerful purpose.
and a powerful purpose. Yes.
With a lot of potential.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Oh, awesome. Well, if someone out there maybe is starting to feel the call to share their story, what would be the best way for them to contact you and Gloria and see about maybe getting some help and getting that story told?
So the best way, they can either contact Gloria at Gloria Coppola, COPPOLA.com. Or they can send an email to contact ppppublishing@gmail.com. And that's our virtual assistant's contact, and she will connect them with Gloria.
Okay.
So Gloria's our point person right now, because she's the one who works, directly with the writers to start the story. And then, I support and come in later with the cover and the graphic design and marketing and all of that. But Gloria's fabulous at really gleaning what those diamonds are and helping people to get down into polishing that and making it a real, just this beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, I'm sure her ears are burning at you singing her praises, but I think we should be singing your praises too, that you are an amazing artist. And I think, make sure that you are recognizing that for yourself and owning that. So, own all your gifts as well. So it's very good. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today and sharing with us a little bit about your journey and the goal of your publishing empire. Ooh. So maybe I think it will be that it will.
We're working on, we want to be the next Hay House.
Yeah. Well, baby steps.
I was going to say, when are you going to publish your book? Or because yours is coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I am still working on that. So yeah, I'm going to have to be in contact and see what we can do with that. So
Oh, and I forgot to say that
Yes.
we also have a website,
Okay.
which is www.ppp-publishing.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will, and for those of you listening, if you're like in the car or something and you're like, I can't write this down, don't worry about it. It's in the show notes. So if you go to my website, gloriarand.com, you'll find that information, as well as I believe on iTunes once I get this uploaded.
Awesome.
So it will be there as well. And so you'll have all that information, which reminds me, if you are not subscribed to the podcast yet, we encourage you to do so on whatever platform you are listening to, because we are on just about all of them, which is wonderful. And please leave us a review as well. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you again, Candy, for being here.
Oh, thank you, Gloria, so much. I so appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure. And to all of you out there, I encourage you to find a way to trust your intuition and let the spirit guide you to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.
Awesome.